This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Eagles. Broadcasting live from Hard Rock Cafe in Philadelphia, tonight's show is brought to you by Penn Community Bank, Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia, Independence Blue Cross, The Capitol Grill, Rob's Automotive and Collision, and BCWSA. We now go live to the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Center City, Philadelphia for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
And welcome, everybody, to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show from the beautiful Hard Rock Cafe here at 12th and Market in Center City, Philadelphia, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM. Here with Paul Domowitch to talk about the 4-0 Eagles win yesterday over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and returning coach Doug Peterson. Our guest Mike Reichenbach, former Eagle linebacker, will be here in a few minutes, probably around 5:30. Damo, first of all, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, Jolly. I'm doing well in another full house here tonight. Everybody, they always come out for the Buddy Ryan Eagles.
Buddy Ryan Eagles. Mike Reichenbach, I love Mike Reichenbach. I mean, he's a terrific guest. By the way, the Bull Session will be following this one. The Phillies' magic number is 1 to clinch a wild card spot in this 3 wild card, 12-team playoff race we call the World Series tournament in Major League Baseball. That's following this at 6. Mike Reichenbach will be here. He'll talk about the linebackers who are improved. The team is improved. Damo, I really like to start with talking about this game. A lot of people didn't like the Eagles going in a 14-0 hole. I think I texted you when it happened. I think this is the best thing that happened for this team because, first of all, I thought they could come back, or I wouldn't have said that. But they needed to face some adversity, and they stared it down yesterday and scored 29 straight points.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have enough confidence in this offense right now that, they could look at a deficit like that and feel that, just a matter of time before they climb back in it if the defense holds them. And that's what happened yesterday. I mean, you didn't see that other years when the offense wasn't so capable, when they just didn't have the confidence. But, I mean, this team has put up 400-plus yards in total offense in every one of their games. There was no doubting in their minds that they'd be able to come back.
And they did, and Jalen Hurts led the way, obviously. Miles Sanders, a career-high 27 carries. He never had more than that at any level of football, including Pop Warner.
Yeah.
And he didn't know he had that many yesterday. Obviously, Jalen again spreading the ball around. The defense came up big, aggressive. Bradbury with a big pick. Doug Peterson coming back. First, let's start with Doug Peterson. Obviously, here for 5 years. Won a game. I think it's called the Super Bowl, a championship-type game. Played in Minneapolis. And then Philadelphia fans aren't forgetting that. You knew they wouldn't. Very well-deserved standing ovation as he walked into the – but the thing I love about Philadelphia, he was Doug Peterson, Eagles Super Bowl winning coach from 12:50 until 12:59. Then at 1 o'clock, let's go get him. And then at 4 o'clock, he's Doug Peterson again, giving his jacket to Jason Kelsey in the jersey exchange at midfield.
Yeah, I mean, Doug was always a regular guy. I mean, there was nothing pretentious about him. I mean, he was a backup quarterback during his long career in the league. He appreciated this town, even though, he was treated kind of questionably by management on the way out. But
people thought that Frank Reich was the guy pulling the knobs for the Super Bowl, which I think was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think the regular guy part is wonderfully and well said. I've never talked, and you're more connected in the NFL, Damo, than I am. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about him in any way, shape, or form.
No, neither have I. I mean, he. What they say about guys like Doug is he's never forgotten where he came from, and that's who he is.
And he brought a Jaguar team in yesterday that was obviously much improved. Trevor Lawrence, much improved. Questionable ground game. This has nothing to do with anything, but excuse me, I found it interesting that ETN, the lead running back of the Chargers, of the Jaguars, also works for the Eagles. Did you realize he is the Eagles television network, which is called ETN? Did you catch that little word parody?
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
There we are. For more of those, stay tuned to Rim Shot.
That's funny. Actually, funnier than Saturday Night Live this week. So.
What happened on Saturday Night Live?
It was their season premiere, and it's awful. Everybody that was any good left, and
really, it was bad.
Kate McKinnon and all the other.
Pete Davidson on?
No, he left too. So they've got a bunch of new guys. Remember that period about 30 years ago when they had this big transition after?
Oh, yeah. My sister was part of that. My sister had an audition and was the last cut for Saturday Night Live, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
It would have been better if they had not cut her.
Yeah, it would have been bad. I'm a little biased in this case, but I would agree. Her castmates at Second City in Chicago, Steve Carell and Nia Vardalos and Rachel Dratch and Tim Meadows, and a bunch of them got in, but it would have definitely been better with Jenna Jolovitz. Definitely yesterday, the Eagles were better than the Jaguars, who were coming in, Damo, allowing 55 and change yards a game on the ground. Now, after 3 games, especially one where you blow out, win 38-10, and the other team's never running, not quite like the Tampa Bay last night, but we'll get to that later. It's not a huge statistical sample, but it is what it is. The statistical sample is the same for every team. They ran for 210 yards without 2 of their offensive linemen who got hurt during the game, Jordan Mailata and Isaac Seumalo. Jack Driscoll and Sewell Pettit came in. They didn't miss a beat. Yeah. That's a hell of a running game. Miles Sanders, $130 by himself.
You know, we've talked in the past, Jolly, about the depth on this offensive line. You know, you never know when it's going to be needed. It was needed Sunday, and I mean those guys stepped in against a young, quick, pretty good front seven, defensive front seven,
who had been playing well.
Yeah, and they dominated them. Granted the conditions were awful, but I mean I don't know that even kind of increases it because they knew that the Eagles were going to have to run a lot, just like the Eagles do the same thing about Jacksonville, and they just took it to them.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence had a little problem holding on to the ball. 5 turnovers, the high in the NFL this year, but it still is what it is. Whatever you do in the NFL, you can talk about the conditions, or it's easy to do that. Eagles didn't turn the ball over 5 times. I think before we get back to the X's and O's, that Nick Sirianni, who is a lot like Doug Peterson in a lot of people's minds, he has the Eagles ready for whatever they're going to be up against. He has Jalen Hurts ready to throw, to pass, whatever. He's got the defense, Jonathan Gannon, to be aggressive, to pull back. I think this is an Eagle team, Damo, that's a chameleon. I'm not sure they can attack and beat whoever they play. We'll have to see the season play out down the road. But they're not a one-trick pony. They have multiple ways to get at you, and can only be a help.
Yeah, I mean, again, Nick has always said that it's every game is different, and you've got to be ready to make changes in your scheme, in your game plan, in your approach, depending on who you're playing and how they're playing you, and that's what he did.
It's a common phrase that it takes a while to get into a new job or learn a new system, whether you're in sports, out of sports. Obviously, in sports, you're learning systems and ways games are played. And Hassan Reddick, 3 years, $45 million in the offseason, not exactly looking like Lawrence Taylor the first couple weeks. But as the last couple weeks have unfolded, his talent is obvious, and his integration in the system is becoming obvious as well. He was a monster yesterday in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, I mean, he gives them that. I mean, I shouldn't say he gives them that difference maker. They've got several on that defensive line: Fletcher, Cox, Brandon Graham. But I mean, Hassan Reddick is special. You can play him, you can move him around either edge. You can drop into coverage. But the last couple games, he's shown why. The last 2 years, he's been the 5th most productive pass rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, they got from everywhere. James Bradbury, a pick we mentioned earlier. Darius Slay, who missed most of the game with a forearm injury, although no break. Obviously, that's just a pain threshold, and we'll see if he can play all the Eagles. We'll see if they can go this week in Arizona. But during his presser after the game, which we've been to a few of, Bradbury started to speak, and Slay's like, "Why'd the Giants let him go?" And Bradbury is a pretty serious guy, didn't really react too much. But I think that's what a lot of Eagle fans are thinking now. Why would your division rival to clear salary cap space for whoever their draft picks were? A little mistake by our buddies up north.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue with the Giants right now. They're 3-1.
3-1, so the Cowboys,
yeah, I mean, he's been a big help. I mean, that play he made, first of all, he doesn't intercept that pass. They probably go down and score.
Well, they're down there.
But I mean, the veteran awareness he showed on that play. He came off his guy because he sees that the quarterback Lawrence was just telegraphing to the guy underneath, and he jumps the pass and then makes and Nick pointed this out in his press conference today. he made a wide receiver type play. You're talking it's a pouring rain. He not only dives to get the ball, but then twists his body around so that he lands on his back and doesn't put the ball on the ground.
And picked off Trevor Lawrence, one of the 5 turnovers. I mean, obviously, anybody who watches college football even a little bit knows how good Trevor Lawrence was at Clemson. He was in a great system. He had better players than the opposition most of the time, better receivers. But you still got to put up the numbers. He ran the ball. He's a much better runner than people realize if you haven't seen him run. And last year was, whatever you want the words to be with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, a blizzardy blip, if you know what I mean. Or fill in the blank yourself. What's Doug Peterson done? I mean, obviously, second year of Carson Wentz. He comes in here, second year of Trevor Lawrence. What has Doug done, or what has Trevor done, combination of the two, to get him from mistake to prodigy and prospect within a few months?
Well, I mean, first of all, Urban Meyer set the bar pretty damn low.
I think that's fair to say.
That was one of the worst hires. I don't know what Khan was thinking down there, but it was an awful hire, and he realized it pretty quickly because, it was a disaster.
Khan's the owner, folks.
Yeah. Doug's good with quarterbacks. I mean, he's not the guy that spends most of the time with them. He's not the guy that's in the meeting room with him. His offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach spend more time with him than he does. But Trevor Lawrence last year looked like, you watched him play and you're saying, is this the same guy that was lighting it up at Clemson for 4 years or 3 years, however long he was there? Or 2, maybe, I guess.
3.
3, was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Started as a true freshman.
And last year he's lost. This year, he's going to be a terrific quarterback.
Yep. They're going to be a pretty good team. I think Jacksonville's.
Oh yeah.
One thing I want to talk about. We've talked about this before. Who did the Eagles play yesterday again? The Jaguars. The Jaguars, not the Jaguars.
Jaguar.
It happened again, Dom, on the pregame shows. Certain people, they knew who they are. The Jaguars. There's no such thing as a Jaguar. If you can't pronounce a 7-letter word, you shouldn't be doing your job in the NFL. Do you agree with me on this? No. Jaguars. How hard is that? Jaguars, not Jaguars. Am I crazy? Why is the problem with Jaguars?
I think it's a fireable offense, Jolly.
It could be a fireable offense. One thing that's not a fireable offense that I want to get your opinion on, we both worked with a guy named Jeff Stoutland a little bit. Oh. He came from Alabama and Nick Saban to coach the offensive line for Chip Kelly. I don't think it's a miracle that he stayed through several coaching changes. The miracle is he hadn't gone somewhere else. He'd been offered a coordinator job. Some people are what they are. Maybe he doesn't want to coordinate. Maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach. He's an offensive line coach, likes to be in the trenches. Whatever his perception, whatever his reality is, that's for him to deal with. But we should be happy as Eagle fans that he is and is developing, again, not just the starting 5, but if everybody in the Eagles' offensive line got vaporized tomorrow and their second line came in, they'd be one of the top 10 lines in the NFL too. How does he do it?
The Eagles have had the benefit, and their fans have had the advantage of watching 2 of the best offensive line coaches in the last 30 years in Jeff and Howard Mudd, the late Howard Mudd, who was here a very short time with Andy. Yeah, but he made his reputation in other places, Indianapolis, some other places, Seattle. But Jeff he takes guys that they react well to him, teaches them what he did with Jordan Mailata. That's going to be on his tombstone.
Yeah.
That's his legacy. You took a guy who knew nothing. Not only knew nothing, hadn't played, but was a rugby player in Australia, and has turned him into a guy who's on the verge of being an all-pro type player. So, he's just they love playing for him, and the results are evident every Sunday.
Yeah, it's like here at the Hard Rock Cafe. If you're downstairs, if you're the chef, and somebody brings you a bag and you say, what's in that? And you go, I don't know. It's just I got this somewhere. And you make a 5-star meal, and your restaurant becomes known as the place to go. That's what he did with Jordan Mailata, and is in the process of doing. Obviously, Jordan got hurt yesterday. We hope he's okay with a banged-up shoulder, but he took absolutely nothing and turned it into arguably the best in the league at what he does right now.
Yeah, and even, not just, you look at guys like Jack Driscoll. He steps in yesterday. He's essentially the third left tackle.
And not a left tackle either.
Yeah, he's a swing guy.
Yep.
Steps in there, and they didn't lose a thing. It's just, he gave up a sack, got pushed a little bit, but he was up against the number 1 pick in the
Walker.
2022 draft in Trayvon Walker. Yes, so I mean he held his own basically. I mean it wasn't too big for him, and when they ran the ball, he was a big part of it, just like the rest of that line was.
And Sua Opeta as well at the right guard for Isaac Seumalo. We're going to talk much more about the Eagles. We're going to go around the NFL. Do you know who Bailey Zappi is? You'll find out in a few minutes from us. Take a look at the only 4-0 team in the NFL. By the way, the only winless team won yesterday. The Raiders now 1-3, and obviously the Eagles in the NFC East ahead of the Giants and Cowboys, both at 3-1. We'll talk about that and much, much more as the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff continues. I want to remind you that happy hour every Monday to Friday from 5 to 7 here. $1 off Bud Light, Sam Adams, and Blue Moon. $6 House Chardonnay. $5 Smirnoff and Cruise End Rum single liquor drinks. $7 for doubles. Double your sports talk from 5 to 7 p.m. Mondays here at Hard Rock with Monday Night Kickoff in the Bull Session. The 26th tonight and the 3rd as the Phillies playoff run hopefully continues. The Eagles' road to victory will continue while enjoying some great food and happy hour specials. Join us here at the Hard Rock for live entertainment in the cafe every Wednesday. Enjoy some great food and our happy hour drink specials every Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m. with live comedians. We're back from the Hard Rock Cafe with more Monday Night Kickoff right after this. Stay with us, folks.
Hard Rock Cafe has it all. Great food takes center stage as they tune up your visit with free live music every Friday night at 6. Sponsored by Conshohocken Brewing Company. See Philly's best rocking the main stage while you enjoy Hard Rock favorites right here in Center City. Pickup, delivery, and catering available. For more info, visit hardrockcafe.com.
I'm Lisa Thomas-Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, for an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
And welcome back to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show live from Hard Rock Cafe, Philly. Don't forget, you can watch the show live at WBCBSports.com and Facebook Live by searching WBCB Sports. Domo, some of our guests coming up the 17th, Mr. Ray Didinger. Left my other job at WIP. He's enjoying retirement. He'll stop in with us. The 24th, former Yale tight end and Eagles Super Bowl tight end John Spagnola. And then on November 7th, some guy named Richard Vermeil. I think he goes by Dick. Just some of the guests we got coming up on the Monday Night Kickoff. I'm really looking forward to it.
Isn't he a grape guy from California?
He is a grape guy. He's a grape guy and a great guy. And he'll be here November 7th. Mike Reichenbach, our guest tonight, will be here in a few minutes. Got a little bit of traffic on this rainy Monday. Did you get affected by the hurricane last week at all? Obviously, it didn't come here, but not the most pleasant of weekends here.
Not here. It's funny. We have 2 different friends that recently bought houses in Punta Gorda, Florida, which is where the storm kind of hit. But they're still waiting to find out how badly. I mean,
did their houses get damaged?
Probably some, but not. I mean, Fort Myers and Naples and that area farther south is what just got destroyed and flooded, and so they're hopeful that the damage isn't as bad as it was down there.
Excuse me. We're Eagle fans here, and to that statement? Are they birds that fly south for the winter, or are they there now?
No, they're up here. They're retired. They retired and have a winter home down there.
All right. I have some friends here. I have cousins in Naples. I have a lot of friends, some in the same situation as you are. Obviously, if you're affected in any way, if you have a house or relatives or in any way, shape, or form were affected by Hurricane Ian, God bless, and hopefully you get up to speed quickly. I was surprised they played the game last night in Tampa. Obviously, even if the city wasn't pouring anymore, the city could have been destroyed. Tampa got very lucky. It dodged them and went a little bit south there, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they were untouched pretty much, and they were braced for it hitting. Initially, it looked like Tampa St. Pete was going to be right in the eye, and that didn't happen. And so it was a beautiful night last night for a game.
It was a gorgeous night. Obviously, Philly has connections down there. Dan Baker waiting to do the bull session at 6 o'clock. Obviously, Clearwater looked like they were right in the path of Hurricane Ian, and they kind of got spared. So good stuff if you got spared, obviously, down there. We're talking about the Eagles win. 4-0. Are they elite yet? We ask that every week. I mean, today they took a step yesterday in erasing the 14-0 deficit, holding the lead, looking solid on both sides of the ball. The one side, Damo, that we're not completely sold on yet, neither is anybody else, is the special teams. Their coverage units are fine. Their return units leave a little bit to be desired, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean it's easy to blame it on Britton Covey. He's averaging 5.7 yards a return.
He hasn't got a block
yet. There's nothing there when he catches the ball. I don't know what's going on there, but they need to get it straightened out because that's not good enough. The good news is Britton Covey doesn't drop the ball very much. He had a fumble a couple of weeks ago, but he quickly recovered it. So he's got a dependable hand, so you don't have to worry about that. But, you'd like that to be a productive part of your game. Fortunately, and then you've got, Jake Elliott's one of the best field goal kickers.
He got hurt yesterday.
Yeah, but I think he'll be fine. But Aaron Sipus is he's got, I forget the number of touchbacks he's got now, but it's far too many.
Well, he was great inside the 20 last year. By the way, he'll be the guest on Merrill's show tomorrow night. You can hear Aaron Sipus with Merrill tomorrow night on Merrill's NFL show. It's interesting because last night Jake Elliott gets hurt on getting roughed on a field goal attempt where Nick Sirianni took the points off the board, and then Nick went for it, which I thought was a big mistake. You did not. People can respectfully disagree late in the game. I thought maybe Jake was hurting or whatever. They need obviously a healthy Jake Elliott. Britton Covey was terrific at Utah. Listen, you're going to drop the ball once in a while if you're human. But they just got to do more with it. Jake Elliott, I'm completely sold on. But if the biggest problem with a team, if we're sitting here quibbling about special teams in Week 5, that in itself is a pretty cool thing, isn't it?
Yeah, although, it's a long season. Everybody yesterday was pointing out, I think the stat that they're only the 7th team in NFL history to start 4-0 and have 400-plus yards in total offense in each one of those games. They lose to Arizona and Dallas the next 2 weeks, and nobody remembers that.
No, nobody remembers they're the 7th Eagle team to start 4-0 or the first since 2000, whatever. What do you like with these stats?
Right now they're 4-0 for the first time since 2004 when they went to the Super Bowl. So that's a good thing.
It's the best you can be after 4 games. Last time I checked. All right, Dallas is 3-1 with Cooper Rush. The Giants are 3-1 somehow. They haven't had the hardest schedule. They've squeaked by, but they're 3-1. The records are what they are.
Yeah.
How much of a threat, Damo? Obviously, the Dallas game looming in 2 weeks is humongous here before the bye. But looking past that and looking at the bigger picture, I hate to say this because I hate to assume things or testosterone speak or whatever, but I don't think Dallas or the Giants is any threat to this team. Dallas obviously has a terrific defense with Micah Parsons. Injuries can happen. Anything can happen. Mm-hmm. But talent-wise, and I said this before the year, I'm not just saying it because Dak Prescott's out, and even if he tries to come back, will he be okay? I don't really worry about the NFC East at all right now. Are you?
I wouldn't say I'm not worried about it. I think Dallas is a formidable opponent, and the Giants are. I think the Giants are playing above their, above their talent level right now. They've had benefits of schedule. They caught Tennessee when Derrick Henry still kind of trying to come back from a foot injury that kept him out most of last year.
And a gutsy call by Brian Daboll in that game.
Yeah.
Give him some credit. Yep.
I mean, so they're going to be a better team this year. The Cowboys are still a team to be dealt with. Nobody expected them to go 3-0 with Cooper Rush. And that happened. And now Jerry Jones is trying to peddle this quarterback country. I mean, whenever Dak's ready, whenever he can grip a football, Dak's the quarterback again, and they'll be formidable. But you're right. The Eagles right now appear to be, if they don't have any key injuries, and by key injuries I mean like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, guys like that.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, they're the best team in the division, and they're a team that's probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the NFC.
One thing we got to stop worrying about, not that we are worried, Damo, but people who are worried about, well, Devontae Smith didn't get the ball that much and A.J. Brown did. Listen, the Eagles have weapons. Jalen Hurts is going to use them. Some weeks, some guys are going to catch more than others, a disparate number, depending on the matchups, what happened on the play, where Jalen's looking. Stop worrying about all this stuff. Devontae's going to get his. AJ's going to get his. Dallas is going to get his. We saw yesterday Miles get his. Kenny Gainwell scored a touchdown. Boston Scott was out. When you have multiple weapons, each week can be different, can't it?
Yeah, and it's fun watching this offense because it looks like whenever Jalen wants to complete a big pass for a first down, he can. I mean, A.J. Brown's among the league leaders in receiving first downs.
Yep.
Third
and yards.
Yesterday, Dallas Goedert catches 5 passes, 4 on screens.
Yeah.
And he's good at it.
Yeah,
I mean, because of that offensive line being so good at getting to the next level and blocking, I mean, those things have been really effective.
If you saw the game last night, Tampa and Kansas City, obviously the marquee matchup at quarterback, some older guy for the Tampa, I can't remember his name. I think he's won a couple of Super Bowls. Brady, I think is his name, and Mahomes. But you saw the essence of Pat Mahomes in the second quarter last night. Yeah, he's whatever for whatever. He flips the ball sidearm sometimes. He has unbelievable everything. Even though he doesn't have Tyreek Hill, he's got 4 or 5 guys, including Justin Watson from Penn, stepping in. But that play he made in the second quarter on the goal line, if you didn't see it, how would you describe it?
I thought they did a pretty good job of saying it's like a dad in his backyard playing with his kids, where he runs out. He makes this odd kind of spin move on a guy who just never expected it, and then just like it's like he's throwing darts. He just as he was about to get hit, he pushes the ball to the receiver who's wide open for a touchdown.
Right in the bullseye. Yep. Yeah. It's so frustrating to a defense. If you do anything in life, playing defense, obviously can be one of them. If you think you've done a great job, done everything you had to do to erase the opposition's potential, whatever play it is, and then you watch a guy do that, that can send you down in the dumps for the rest of the game, can't it?
Yeah. You know, it's fun. Funny thing with Mahomes, like right now, every NFL team will tell you, "Oh man, we had him rated high when he came out."
Sure.
Basically, the truth is, I mean,
Andy traded up to get him.
Andy Reid and the Chiefs cannot be credited more for seeing what they saw in Patrick Mahomes. Everybody else saw talent, but the way he played at Texas Tech, so unorthodox, so never before seen, that some people thought it would take like 5 years of teaching before you could ever put him on the field.
Well, Mitch Trubisky went second in that draft. He lost his job yesterday in Pittsburgh. Deshaun Watson went 10th, or was it 10th? Watson 10th, Mahomes 12th, or vice versa?
I think it was vice versa. I think Mahomes went 10th.
And Andy Reid traded up from 27th to get him, which cost a pretty penny. So don't always worry about the draft or what people think of guys. Let them play for a couple of years, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, around the NFL yesterday, a bunch of other stuff happened. Number one, I want to talk about this before I guess Mike Reichenbach gets here, and he can chime in himself. Tua Tagovailoa, on a human level, Damo, and a football level. You watched him last Sunday. The Sunday he got hurt the first time. I don't think you had to be Marcus Welby or somebody who graduated Harvard Medical School to see he had an issue with concussions. He can say he had a back issue all he wants. The player's always going to want to play. The coach is always going to want to put his guy in. They're undefeated. The world questions him. But then he comes back on Thursday when most people thought he shouldn't be playing, and what happens happens. A total you-know-what for the NFL, who fired the independent neurologist for God knows what reason. How big a problem is this for the NFL?
Well, how would you like to be a patient of that first independent neurologist who agreed that it's just a back problem here, not a concussion in that first game?
Mr. Lincoln, you look badly hurt.
Yeah. You know, fortunately, I mean, the league and the Players Association are doing like major and quick damage control here. They're putting together a new, and I'm going to be interested to see what the new concussion protocol looks like, because I mean, you know, right now I thought it was pretty conservative. I thought you waited a week. You know, but who knows? I mean, you get a concussion now, it's very possible that guys are going to have to sit out at least one game, almost mandatory.
Well, this is going to be new protocols. I think most people said if you passed the protocol 2 Sundays ago, then not necessarily is the fault with the people who passed them, but with the protocols themselves, that something's wrong. If anybody in the world that has an IQ over 7 could see that he was, you know, struggling, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see. He's out this week. We'll see about that. We'll talk more about around the NFL, talk more Eagles when we come back. Friday Night Live here at the Hard Rock Cafe. Live music every Friday from 6 to 9. No cover, the best local artists on the main stage, every week. Make your reservations and check out Hard Rock Philly's 90s Night, hosted by the band 9D's Night. Love the name. Saturday, October 15th, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. $10 general admission, $15 for a table in the lounge, discovering an exciting flashback of 90s nostalgia from Nirvana to NSYNC, Snoop Dogg and the Spice Girls. We love all the sights and sounds of your favorite decade with this fun, interactive experience here at the Hard Rock Cafe, where we'll return with the Monday Night Kickoff and our guest Mike Reichenbach as we continue right after this.
Hard Rock Cafe in Center City at 12th and Market Streets has it all. Great food takes center stage with dine-in and pickup available. Their burgers are so famous, they have their own chauffeurs. So order delivery and catering too. So if you're celebrating or just getting the band together, Hard Rock Cafe's got your back. For more info, hit up hardrockcafe.com.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, for an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
And welcome back here to the beautiful Hard Rock Cafe, where you can enjoy a great dinner, watch your favorite games on TV, see a lot of the Hard Rock memorabilia. Dom, what's your favorite of the memorabilia here on the wall? It's got the Michael Jackson jacket. You got Elvis stuff.
Big fan of the Elvis stuff.
A little expensive. Elvis died, right? Because I saw him around earlier today down in Center City. He actually did die, correct?
Correct. May have come back to life, but somewhere. But I have a cousin, 83-year-old cousin that, Elvis. She lived for Elvis.
I thought you were going to say she dresses like
she's
Elvis.
She still has every album.
Really?
I mean, the collection must be worth, I can't imagine what.
The actual records, not
the actual
CDs,
records.
not
No,
okay.
no. And they're all, protected and in vinyl, impressive.
Yeah.
She still
Elvis
swoons when she hears Elvis.
He passed away in 1977, and he's still got a name that's, it's like Michael Jackson. Yeah. Michael Jackson's made more dead every year since he passed away. I think in 2010, his estate's made more and he ever made a living. Elvis, I think, is
Same
like
with
that.
Prince
too.
yeah.
Too many guys went too soon, huh?
Yeah. Are we going to be worth a lot of money after we die?
We're not worth a lot of money now. It could be.
Maybe our best is yet to come.
Maybe our best is yet to come. Haven't hit the lottery yet. Have you, Domo?
No, I have not.
You play the Powerball as I stir my iced tea here?
I have never played it even once.
Not even when it gets to 100 million, billion?
No, not a gambler.
Not being a gambler and not trying to
Yeah.
win the lotteries at $1 billion are two slightly different things, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean the chances of winning. I mean, come on.
Let me ask you this: you play the market?
Well, my
You have money in the
401k.
stock? Then
Yeah.
you're a gambler.
Yeah.
Because that's gambling. But whatever, it is what it is. Mike Reichenbach, our guest, will be here in about 2 minutes. We look forward to him. The Buddy Ryan Eagles obviously emphasized his position of linebacker, Damo. Linebackers didn't come up with anything big yesterday. Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards, who I've been talking about, Nakobe Dean, but Edwards has been playing great.
He had a sack.
He had a sack, but nothing turnover-wise.
Yeah.
But the linebackers have been playing great to the point where even after 4 weeks,
Yeah.
you notice when you don't talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, Kaiser White, I knew would help them. I mean, that was I don't want to lessen the credit that Howie deserves for the moves he made during the offseason because he did have a spectacular offseason. But T.J. Edwards, I thought, would be a first and second down linebacker at best. I thought getting Nakobe Dean would help offset that. He could play in passing situations. T.J. Edwards ends up losing weight, getting faster. I don't know how. And right now he's playing at a Pro Bowl level.
As most of the Eagles team seems to be. I mean, Marcus Epps
Yeah.
at safety, and yesterday safety's banged up. A couple rookies came in and played pretty darn well.
I thought losing Slay would really hurt them yesterday. I mean, when he went out. And
Moved the pieces around on the board.
You know, Zach McPherson held up. The little guy, what's his name? Josiah.
What's his name? Harris? What? 33.
Yeah.
What is his
Anyway,
last
he
name?
struggled. He had his moments when he didn't look so good out there, but he held up for the most part.
He did.
So yeah, I mean, it's just right now everything's falling in place for him.
Everything's fallen in place, and they're two. I don't want to seem trite here because the 2 3-1 teams behind them have earned their records. I just don't think over 17. I mean, the Eagles really do have a schedule that I'm not sure I could have put it together any better, Dom. I mean, you have to play who you have to play. The division teams twice, teams outside your conference. The NFL has a formula for that. The Eagles have about as generous, I'm going to call it a schedule, as I've ever seen in my life. It's just up to them to attack it. I mean, this schedule is just freaking fantastic.
Well, and it's the same with the Giants and Washington. I mean, the whole division had strength as far as strength of schedule. They were somewhere near the 3 easiest schedules in
but
the
as far
in
as
the league.
home and road and spacing and bye.
When I looked at the schedule, which was different from last year, is you were going to be set up early if you played well. Last year they struggled 2-5 against some good teams, against great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
This year, I mean, I felt before the season even started that 8-2 after 10 games was a very doable thing to shoot for. And right now it looks like that's not only very doable, it looks very likely.
And the Eagles stay undefeated. We're going to take a quick break now and come back with our guest who has arrived, Mr. Mike Reichenbach. You might notice a guy on the Manning cast tonight on Monday Night Football, San Francisco, hosting the Rams. Some guy named Jalen Hurts is appearing with the Mannings. He's all over the place now. He's America's media darling. He's 4-0, and a lot of people respecting Jalen Hurts. We'll hear what Mike Reichenbach has to say about Jalen Hurts and much, much more when the Monday Night Kickoff returns to the Hard Rock Cafe in a second. Stay with us.
Hard Rock Cafe in Center City has it all. Great food, free live entertainment on Friday nights, and they're the epicenter for special occasions. Let them rock and roll to you with catering for your next gathering or book a private event space for your band's next meeting. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or late night, let them turn it up at Hard Rock Cafe at 12th and Market Street. For more info, visit hardrockcafe.com.
Don't hang out alone in the man cave this football season? Hang out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 Miller Lights, Jameson specials, and awesome game day prizes during all Sunday and Monday football games. Stop in before, during, or after the game to see your favorite entertainers and your chance to win an awesome game day prize. The most epic game day experience is at Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, where champions play. Open daily from noon till 2 a.m.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
And welcome back on a rainy Monday to the Monday Night Kickoff at Phillies. The city that gets through. They persevere. So is our guest. Tonight, the Phillies have Aaron Nola towing the mound in Houston against Lance McCullers Jr., with the Phillies having a magic number of 1 to clinch a playoff berth. We had a magic number of 1 to clinch a guest berth tonight, and he made it through the traffic of Philadelphia. He is here now. We are so happy to have a guy we've had for the last couple of years, Mr. Frank Reichenbach. Don't know if I got the middle name right, but how are you?
Very good. Thanks, Paul. It's good to be here. Finally to make it.
Is it Frank in the middle name?
No, it's my real name is John Michael. Michael's my middle name, actually.
My
that's
dad
an unknown.
has that. What, your father couldn't pronounce Michael or John? Or
No, there's a long story. My mom wanted a John. My dad didn't want a John, and it just went on from there. But as soon as I was born, I got the name John, but they called me Michael right away.
All right. Well, he's not sure what his name is, but we are sure he played linebacker with the Eagles during the Buddy Ryan era. Mike, obviously 4-0. We've talked about the game already, but you're welcome to chime in on anything that struck your fancy from yesterday. But obviously, first of all, in your case, the linebacker position was devalued from basically the time you left till this year. And now the Eagles have got Kaiser White. They have T.J. Edwards playing it at a Pro Bowl level. The linebackers really are back, aren't they?
Yeah, they're aggressive. I mean, they're getting a lot of help. I mean, they're a balanced defense. I think they're playing the run better, which is definitely helping them. I just see that as a defensive unit, they seem to have more focus and purpose in what they're out there doing. I think, in the past it seemed like there was individuals playing on the field, and now they seem to be cohesive, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's all being on the same page, knowing what you're there to do, the situations, what the team's trying to do to you. It's all preparation, game plan, film study. If you have committed players doing those things, that sets you up for success.
We were talking earlier about T.J. Edwards. Last year, I mean, he was a solid first and second down linebacker, but I thought this year when they drafted Nakobe Dean that they probably would take him out on first down. And something happened to T.J. Edwards since last year. He's gotten faster. He can cover people. He's but like I said, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level probably right now.
Yeah, and as a player, I mean, you have the ability or you wouldn't be there. And sometimes it takes a year or two or you almost have to recreate yourself. I mean, it's the game changes. The methods of the games change. The principles don't. I mean, you got to be able to do certain things. You got to block. You got to tackle. Like you saw that yesterday in that game. One thing you saw is the games can change. It can be about speed, and you can open it up and all those things. But ball control, time you have the football, controlling the clock, running the football, That's what wins football games. And I think as a player, you can recreate yourself and do training and get yourself not that you're you're almost like a different player, and I think I see that in him.
A lot of people see also things in a lot of players, guys, and Kyler Murray is one of them. Last week on a podcast, Mike and Paul, our own Shady McCoy, one of the great wordsmiths of the 21st century, referred to Kyler Murray as trash on a podcast. He said he just goes back and don't worry what the play call is, just runs around. Sometimes he'll make something out of nothing. Sometimes he won't. I think he's taken it much too, personally and much too specifically. Basically, I think Shady has no idea what he's talking about. But there are a lot of people who have a lot of different opinions on Kyler Murray, who the Eagles will be facing this week. The Cardinals not off to the start most people thought. They win in Carolina yesterday. Eagles are 5-point favorites in this game, Mike. The perception of the public, high on the Eagles, kind of low on the Cardinals. This is a game they've got to really watch out for, though, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, the Cardinals are a good football team. They've proven it. And Kyler Murray's not your prototype quarterback. Nope. That's why he's hard to figure out. I mean,
would you rather have Jalen Hurts or Kyler Murray for 10 years now?
That's a tough question. I think that I would probably have Kyler Murray.
Really?
Only because I think Jalen is I don't, again, and I'm just saying this as an opinion, I think he's a great player. The last time I was on the show and they were struggling at that time, I said that he was the pick. He's the guy that they needed at quarterback because of his discipline, of his ability to make plays. He took ownership of his play. He was a disciplined guy. He was a quality, he was an integrity guy. He took ownership for his play, and that's what they needed because they were trying to change a culture. And again, it's what is his ceiling? I just don't know yet. I mean,
nobody does.
Yeah, and that's what I think that in Kyler I've seen glimpses of. He could be great. Jalen is getting there. I don't know if he's there yet, but I don't know what his ceiling is right now.
Of course, he's got a tight end named Zach Ertz to throw to out there. Dom, first of all, what do you think about Shady's comments about Kyler Murray? Who would you rather take? And then anything on Zach Ertz, which old home week continues with Carson Wentz last week, Doug Peterson this week, Zach in the desert next week.
Yeah, I mean, that's Shady having, verbal diarrhea. I mean, that's pretty harsh. I mean, I understand the criticism of Kyler. His own team had questions when they gave him the big contract. I mean, they initially inserted a clause making him study for a certain amount of hours a week, which was the weirdest thing I had ever seen when you're investing that much money in a guy. But there's always been a question with Kyler about, he was a baseball player and a football player. He was really split between the two. He wanted to play both at the same time. I mean, there is not the commitment on his part that you see when you watch Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is so focused on what he wants. Now, again, I agree with Mike that probably Kyler has more ability right now because we don't know what Jalen's going to be. I'd still rather probably have Jalen because of his work ethic, because of his commitment, even if I don't know how good he's going to be. But, I mean, Kyler improvises. That's his deal. And in that offense, they're okay with that. So I don't know why Shady should have a problem with it.
What about Zach, who went out there last year, traded in the middle of the season by Howie, not having the greatest of years, but certainly not done yet? What have you thought from what you've seen of him?
I think that it's how much they work him into the game plan. I mean, some quarterbacks you just don't use their tight ends enough, and I think that might be part of what we're talking about with Kyler Murray. I don't know how well he sees the whole field, or like you said, the film work and the things that are required of him. He might not be doing those things. And I agree with what you said is that Jalen, the best thing about him is his discipline, his preparation, and the things that he brings to the game. At least to the Eagles, they have enough talent now to spread the ball around. It gives them options.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, one thing is the Eagles are catching him and that team at the right time because I believe DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for 6 games.
Yep.
Murray was a much more effective quarterback when he had Hopkins, as any quarterback would be, because the
wonder
guy's
why.
one of the best wide receivers in the league.
They're A.J. Brown.
You know, now he seems to not know where to go, who he wants to focus on. He doesn't seem to be a guy that likes to use his tight end. Because Zach is kind of wasted.
Yeah.
And Zach's at the end anyway, but he could be utilized a lot better than he's being utilized right now in that offense.
All right, on the other side of the ball, Hassan Reddick, who played so well yesterday, played well the last couple weeks, heads back out to the desert to see his old teammates. But, Mike, this game brings up an interesting item that we talk about all the time on shows, and TV talks about it, players talk about it, fans who bet games think about it, and that's spot, where a game falls in the schedule, who's hurt, who you're playing next, this, that, and the other. Eagles go out to Arizona ahead of the game with the Cowboys. Cowboys surprising at 3-1. That's the Sunday night game 2 weeks down the road. The byes after that. A lot of people are saying a look-ahead game for the Eagles. You go out to the desert to get a nice tan, enjoy the weather, play a game. If you happen to win it, great. If not, is look-ahead game a fair thing? Obviously, you have plenty in your career where 2 weeks look like a more challenging game, a bigger game, whatever. Is look-ahead a fair concept? It seems to happen a lot that it actually works.
Yeah, I think you hit lulls. There's ups and downs to the seasons. There's ebbs and flows. It's really up to, again, the coaching staff and the concept of what have they gotten these guys to believe in it. And I think that's the difference I see in the Eagles team this year. They've believed in what the coaches have prepared them to do. I mean, they're believing in the concept of what they seem more informed. They seem more motivated, more of a unit. You see more camaraderie, more of a team approach. I think that's the big difference. And if you can stay focused on that, I remember talking to a coach that made it to the Super Bowl one time, and I asked him. I said, Tony Dungy, I said, what does it take to get there? And he said that if everyone in your locker room is focused on one thing, they eat, they sleep, they do everything for that one thing that they're going to the Super Bowl. They do everything like they're getting ready for the Super Bowl. He said, you have a chance. And that was the difference between the organizations I played with. When I went to San Francisco my last year, they did everything like they were going to the Super Bowl. They met like that. They talked like that. In practice, they said, when we make it to the Super Bowl, this is what we're going to see. And everything they did revolved around that game.
But they didn't make it, did they?
No, they didn't make it that year. It doesn't always have success, 100%, but it's...
Damo, what do you think about the look-ahead game?
Well, I think this is not a team that is going to lose sight of a team from week to week.
So what does Nick have to do to keep that from happening?
Well, I don't think that's the biggest problem this week. The biggest problem is the Cardinals are a decent team.
Yeah.
They're going on the road. They're going out there, it's just they've put up 400 yards plus offense every week for 4 straight weeks. There's just sometimes you're going to have a letdown depending on injuries. I don't think it's necessarily that they're going to be looking ahead to Dallas because, I think Jalen Hurts prevents that from the standpoint of he keeps everybody focused. I mean, he's an extraordinary leader. I mean, I haven't seen anybody in the years I've been covering football that has a locker room like he does.
That's a great point, Damo, but I want to ask Mike, if I can interrupt you for a second. Mike, as Damo just said that, how many guys, if you're a veteran in the Eagle locker room, if you're playing linebacker, and I think I know the answer to this question already, like a good lawyer in a good courtroom should, but how many veterans are going to say, this kid's a third-year player, yes, we love him, yes, he studies his you-know-what off, yes, he's going to be the best he can be, he's going to reach his ceiling, but, hey, rookie, just go play your game, we'll play our game. How much of the locker room does Jalen Hurts really have, and what does it say about a third-year quarterback to make Damo's point true, which I agree with, by the way, but how hard is that to do?
Well, you get guys that lead by example, and he's one of those kind of guys. He earns his respect. He's not asking for it. There's guys that come in the league and they ask for it, or before they do anything, or even if they live it out. I think he lives it out. I think he comes in every day like with his lunchbox and his hard hat and goes to work, and that's the best example. And then the results start to show, and I think he's earned that respect. That they're willing, whether a team wants to admit it or not, you always look to the quarterback to bring the team together because he's the guy. I mean, he's the guy that pulls the strings and makes the plays.
And Damo, you've been around the NFL for a long time. When's the last time you saw a guy that had been in this league this short a period of time with all the trepidations that he's had in the last 2 years of COVID and no practice and coaching changes, 19 offensive coordinators in 3 years, whatever it is, and still got to this point and had the respect he has. I can't think of anybody else.
No, I'd tell you, I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody. And you mentioned COVID. I mean, that first year, he comes into the league when everything's virtual. I mean, they're not even, they weren't even allowed to be in the locker room during the week together for more than 5 minutes, I believe. And yet, when he got a chance to start in those last 4 games, I mean, it was like, okay, boss, we'll follow you anywhere. I mean, they were an awful team, and yet he somehow got them to just believe in him.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, we like to talk to our guests a little about this one subject, and we just got a couple minutes left. And what's your biggest memory? What's your best memory of the NFL? What does Mike Reichenbach look back on? Either the opportunities it gave you today, or the camaraderie, or being in a city like Philadelphia, whatever it is. What's your number one memory of being an NFL player?
I think it was playing locally. I mean, I was raised in Bethlehem. My parents could they could come see the games. It was local. I remember when I first went to Miami. That was the big dilemma. How do I get? Now it just got more expensive. I had to fly my parents down to Miami.
Well, the NFL minimum wasn't the $700,000
No,
it is now.
not for me. I was a free agent too. I was on the lower end. But that was just being able to play in front of my family and in front of people that I knew and from the area.
All right, Dom, we just got a minute. Give me either a Monday night prediction night, San Francisco hosting LA. I'll take the Niners in this one. And I'm going to take the Eagles. I originally had this down as a loss in my season projections. I had them 4-0, I got to be honest with you, but I had them going out to play a little bit better Cardinal team, in a little better shape than they are with the homecomings both ways. I think the Eagles win this game. I don't know why, but I think they're going to struggle, scratch. I don't think they're going to play well, but I think this is a team that finds a way. Give me your pick and then Mike's picks.
Well, tonight I'm going to go with the Rams. The 49ers don't seem to have it together yet.
Defense does.
Yeah, Sunday. I'm going to go with the Eagles, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think you said the line is 5. I think it's going to be a field goal game.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
it's
Mike,
going to be tight.
Which Western team? Go back to San Francisco for a second.
Yeah, I would go with the Rams as well. I just don't. The 49ers don't seem to have that continuity.
I'm going to guarantee you the Niners finish in the top 2 tonight. No way they'll finish worse than second in this game. I think they're going to win. We'll see. Plenty of stuff to talk about. We'll be back here next week with the Monday Night Kickoff. Hope you enjoyed it this week. Thanks so much. We had some traffic problems. We're honest about it. But Mike Reichenbach, you persevered. You got here. It wasn't your fault. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you back again next year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Good seeing you
so
as
much.
always.
Damo, you as well.
We're
back next week.
Thank you, Jolly.
Yep. Well, we'll let you know about the guests. We have John Spagnuolo the 24th, Ray Didinger the 17th, Dick Fremio the 7th. Chris Hermer has produced this program. Keith Noonan and Joe LeComp back at the station. For everybody involved with the Monday Night Kickoff, I'm Paul Jolovitz. Stay tuned for the Bull Session with Dan Baker. We'll be back next week. And go Eagles and go Phillies.
You've been listening to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of WBCB 1490 and 107.3 FM and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.